ャストはトロントに住む私ミーと私のパートナーであるベトナム系カナダ人の埼玉くんがダイバーシティについて考えるラジオです。今回はいつものように記事を取り上げるということはせずにちょっとスペシャルとして結果が出たばかりのアメリカ大統領選についてお話ししていきます。あくまでもこれお話しする内容は私たちの個人的見解、個人的思想なので、そこを頭に留めていただければと思います。お話を始める前に私と埼玉くんのがどういう考え方なのかっていうところをちょっとはっきりさせておくんですけれども、以前ですねカナダ総裁選の時に自分の思想とカナダの政党の意見を比べるウェブサイトっていうのがあって、それを2人で確認してチェックテストしてみたんですけども、少しの違いはあれど埼玉くんも私も経済や財政政策については保守寄りの考え方で、ソーシャルマターズなので社会的にはリベラルな思想っていうことが、というのが私たちの基本的な考え方です。なので、経済財政政策的には保守寄りなんだけども、総合で見たときには、リベラルな左寄りの思想を持っています。それを前提に、聞いていただければと思います。それでは早速始めます。埼玉くん、バイデン won.
Yeah, he did. This was waiting for so long.
So you're happy about it?
Yes, it's not the outcome that I wanted, but it is enough. Like I wanted the Democratic Party to win both the Senate and the House. So just like in 2008 when they had the full mandate of the people so that they can push any legislative agenda that they had. But Biden is on track to win the House, and then even if there is a split in the Senate because the VP is a Democrat, the Democrats control the Senate. So as long as they tie or only are behind by one seat, they can probably convince another senator to follow the Democrats' political agenda, to vote in favor of the Democrats.
Okay. Let's look back the 4 years of the Trump administration, focusing on Canada. What was the main things that Trump administration did with Canadian related matters?
So for Trump in Canada, our issues was mostly trade relations.
Everyone is.
Yeah. But Trump feels that that Canada is winning the trade deficit with U.S. for some reason. And the reason why he went after us is actually I don't know, but he probably felt that because the U.S. is a much bigger trade partner, they can bully Canada into getting what they want, and which they did. They imposed tariffs on our aluminum and steel. They imposed tariffs on I believe the timber that was coming out of BC. They tried to enter our Canadian dairy market, even though our market is geared towards supply chain management, whereas the U.S. it's all about economies of scale and driving prices down. So it doesn't really the two market strategies doesn't really symbiotic, or they don't really work well with each other. So those were the things that Trump kind of focused on for some reason. And then the other one was NATO spending, whereas he wanted other countries to spend more on their defense spending. And a small part of me feels that the reason why he's pushing them to spend more on defense spending is hopefully they would buy from American manufacturers. That was probably the main attempt.
Like weapons?
Yeah, force other countries to buy American products. Because Trump was very pushing American first, prioritizing American-made products, when historically any country that does that has proven to be worse off long term. I mean, not worse off, but they could have done better if they were willing to trade with other partners. Because each country should focus on what they are good at. The one reason is why Trump felt that Canadian steels for some reason was too cheap and it was driving down the cost of American steel was mainly so that the U.S. could have a steel industry just in case war breaks out. That was, I guess, their main motivation is war preparation. And obviously because he promised those voters that they would have jobs.
I think it's just to make America first.
Yeah.
It's just a simple concept
that
he wanted to do.
And I think he only needed like small wins just to say that, yeah, he won the trade negotiation for his fan base.
Yeah.
Even though the trade deals probably made everyone lose.
Not like states on Canadian perspective towards Trump is mostly negative, is it?
Well, I mean, as we saw from the election, it's about half the people that voted for Trump.
Yeah,
the other half, more than half, voted
what do you
for
think
Biden.
About
Canadians, as a general, okay, so based on my social group and the discussions that my social group has, our opinions and the general opinion of, let's say, Reddit users and online, or the groups of people that I see through my social media, they all think that U.S. is dumb for voting Trump.
Yeah.
That given all of his failures, his admitted failures, and comments that he made on the campaign trail, such as
it's
right.
Yeah, it's just because of our social group, is it? Do you think so? But we have not really a lot of chances to see Trump supporters in Canada because we are living in Toronto. We are young.
And yes, that's true. It's our social group. So I'm pretty sure that there are other groups out there who sees Trump as a champion of their values. So religious groups who values, life at conception, who believe that life begins at conception, they are heavily against abortion. Trump piggybacks on the Christian values and claiming that he is pro, life. So for those people, no matter what he says, no matter what he does, because he is pro-life, they will support him no matter what. They were able to pick. I mean, they saw that one clause, and that was enough for them to ignore every other thing that he has done.
Interesting. Because in the States, they are so divided. And then these 4 years made it clear. So those Trump supporters are on surface too, and then they insist or they are loud about their opinions. And then we see through media, right? But I don't see in Canada.
Probably not.
So that is so interesting because for sure there are Trump supporters in Canada.
Oh, tons.
And then, but they don't come on the media. It's, how do I say it? They are kind of hidden.
Right. So I think it's
so it's about like population and like they are too spread.
Yeah.
Right?
As
you said.
Luckily, that's the one good thing. Our population is too spread out.
I think so because they can't get together. Like, and then normally those conservatives are kind of older, I guess.
Not necessarily older, but it's more like Ontario is very liberal. So we'll not say Ontario. Let's say
GTA.
Southern Ontario and so let's say GTA, Southern Ontario, and then the Ottawa region is mainly liberal, and they are the financial hub of Ontario. So I guess, and then so to the world, we represent Ontario, but really, Northern Ontario supports more conservative values.
Yeah, for sure.
Right?
Yeah, That everywhere is like that, right? And then, but they don't really stand up.
No. We're lucky that our population is so spread out and they're all localized in certain geographical regions that a lot of these not hateful, but these very opinionated groups against minorities and social liberties, and they are very closed and narrow-minded. These groups are not able to congregate with other groups because of how spread out the country is. So that's why we're lucky that they can't formulate one large voice. Whereas the number of people who are inclusive, who are more open and open-minded, there's more of them. That's the beauty of Canada. That our diversity and our multiculturalism makes us better.
Okay, let me ask, what was good thing about Trump?
He was a common enemy that united the people. I have to admit, he's like the Hitler of the political world. Maybe that's too extreme, but his policies made it easier for people to unite against him. Like, even if you don't agree on each other's policies, you can agree that putting America first hurts America. You know, not saving people's lives during COVID hurts America. You know, going to the rest of the world and pulling out of the Paris Accord hurts America and the rest of the world. Not acknowledging climate change and disregarding facts because it doesn't agree with your world narrative hurts America and the rest of the world. Putting, people in cabinet positions who are not qualified hurts the country. Those are his merits. The things that he do are so obviously,
that
selfish.
People unite together other than those Trump supporters. And then it made the result today.
Yeah. Biden won the majority of the votes and the majority of the electoral college. So it proves that both the states and the people wanted him.
Yeah, that is good. So now I wanted to ask about the demerits of like what Trump did really bad, but you already said somehow. So it was that his administration didn't believe in science and facts, like climate change and the COVID.
How can you deny?
I don't know. I have no idea.
It's like telling me that the sky is green when I look outside and it's clearly not. But your facts are saying the sky is green because it's not yellow, right? It's like, argue the facts. Especially when you're the one claiming that these things aren't real, then you have to support facts. But rather, they just go around and saying, well, this isn't real because of this. But they never provide evidence.
Regarding climate change, I'm pretty sure that the stuff in his administration and party, like people in the party, they know that it's scientifically proven, but since they have to put the business and economy first, they can't admit that the fact. That's why they are using Trump as a stupid leader to say, no, there's nothing like that.
Yeah, he is their puppet.
They know that it's true, but they can't do it because of the business and economy. That's why they made it what he says. I don't know. 100%. It's so weird. Like, it just looks so stupid.
The problem is they make policies that put business first, and they openly say business should come first, but they can't even acknowledge science, and that's horrible.
That is weird. And also coronavirus. It's like they don't care because their rich people are okay.
So my thing is that the majority of the people that says COVID isn't real, it's because they live in communities where there isn't a lot of exposure to COVID. They're more like rural states where, you're not going to get like an international from Wuhan, right? So to them, they hear all these stories, but they don't see it. So they're like, oh, it's happening somewhere else. It's not real, so why should it affect me? And then those people then give support to other people in cities who feel that they are being unnecessarily punished because some guy in China got sick, when they don't realize that they can be passing it along to other Americans. Just like that, the anti-masker, I can't remember, but I believe it was somewhere, one of the Carolinas, a protester organizing anti-mask, protesting, an anti-mask protester ended up infecting other people in their protest with COVID. It's one of the Carolinas, and I can't remember. It was one of the organizers too. So yeah, that's how dumb it is.
They made a cluster, I guess.
Yeah.
that is good, but that they got cluster in the anti-mask.
Like, remember that story about the kid in Florida who went out with their friends and then come back and ended up, getting infected and giving their dad COVID, and who was like on life support. I'm ashamed to admit that I didn't follow up with the story, but that's what's happening in the US, right? That people listen to the president and believe everything he says without, researching the facts on your own.
I guess people who trust what Trump says is his supporters, I guess.
Definitely.
Yeah. Okay. Another thing about what Trump did really wrongly was he divided Americans so bad that people can be like those people. And he made it easier for people to be racist.
Yeah. I think he made it harder for people to work with both political parties. Because it's always been, we belong to this party, but we're willing to work with another person as long as we have the same goal that makes the country better. Ever since 2012, when the Republicans took back the Senate and the House, their only goal was to keep the Democrats from winning. So it became more of my party wins when your party loses. So it's the party that's important, not the country. And I think that's what Trump made worse, was that no one is willing to work with the other side because they're worried that the press will get a hold of it, and then the supporters will then refuse to vote for you because you worked with the enemy.
Okay. Okay, let's switch the topic to the Biden-Kamala. Okay. What would you expect Biden?
So, first things first, I expect Biden to get a handle on COVID, because that's the immediate concern.
Yes.
A president who actually looks at facts and listens to medical professionals, people who are trained in the field that they are providing consultation on. Second, he needs to work on reforms. There were a lot of issues that the Trump administrations tried to repeal from the Obama era administration. So Biden should make every effort to solidify support for those policies, such as Obamacare and Medicaid. The second one is they need to focus on reforms, educational reforms, law enforcement reforms, immigration reforms. Biden should work on trade deals with new countries. He should continue or re-enter the Paris Agreement. He should.
They will for sure.
Yeah. Then he also needs to, recertify the Iran deal. Yeah, like those kind of policies that Trump pulled out of for no valid reason, rather than to say that he did it. Rather than so that Trump can say he did it. Then the next one would be, foreign policies to make the countries around the world safer, and to fight, terrorism, domestically and abroad. That's my opinion on what the president should do.
What do you think Biden will do with China?
So definitely, he's going to try to reduce all those tariffs.
That's good for China.
It's good for the U.S. too, because there are tariffs on American goods, but I don't know how it affects the U.S. or China that much. The whole China deal is really just to de-escalate the situation, because there's no point in arguing or trying to make deals with an enemy.
Do you think it affects Canada?
Yeah, I would say so because
it's right now it's kind of bad, right?
Like we arrested the CFO of Huawei on the request of the U.S. Yet when it came time to prove that we did this because you asked, Trump threw us under the bus.
Yeah.
So as an ally, that's a dick move.
True. China captured some Canadians too.
Yeah, because
in return.
Yeah, throughout all the whole China-U.S. Trade deals or disputes, Canada didn't really care. We have nothing to gain from arresting their CFO.
Okay. What would you expect for Kamala?
So what I expect from Kamala Harris, the vice president, is to focus on domestic policies just as the role of the vice president. I would like for her, or I expect her, to make use of her law degree, or at least be in a more legislative capacity and arguing more reforms, general reforms, rather than focusing only on racial and gender issues. If she chooses to focus on those issues, that's her prerogative. But I would hate for her to be used only in those capacities because she is a woman and a minority.
What did you think when Biden appointed her as a vice president?
I thought it was a poor choice. Strategically, it was a good choice. But during the campaign, she was very critical of him. So now to ask for her endorsement and support, it's a good thing. It shows that he is willing to work with his own critics, and she was very critical of some of his policies, which probably makes him better. But then he probably should have picked someone who is, I will say, a little more qualified, or at least some more deserving of the role. And
who is that?
Bernie Sanders. For socialist policies, I would have liked Bernie Sanders. Okay. For economic policies, I would have liked to see Elizabeth Warren, because both of their policies were very radical.
And then they are more experienced.
Yes, they're more
kind of politics.
Not just politics, but they're more experienced as an activist. Bernie definitely. Right. He's been involved in the civil movement. So, of all the people who have recently passed this year, people like John Lewis, who was part of the civil rights movement, you want someone who was part of that era to help lead the next generation, I would say, so that their experience is used rather than just as reference. Their experience is used to guide.
I think she's still very symbolic.
Oh, definitely.
That's why he picked her.
Oh, yeah.
And then
definitely.
I think there are better qualified candidates, I guess, but
right.
To pass on the next generation, it's a good timing to have visibly symbolic
plus
person in the position.
Right. Like, she is qualified. It's not that she's not qualified. She's also young, which means that after, let's say, hopefully, 8 years, and then she then can run as president, and she would still benefit from this experience, and she would still be young enough to run again in another for another 8 years.
Actually.
So that's probably one of the main reasons why they picked her. Yeah.
Biden is so old, so.
Like Biden's old, Warren is old, Sanders is old. You want a new generation, a new face.
Yeah, she's young, 56. Yeah, and then I told you that she also have kind of the experience of discrimination from childhood, which is, I think, it's not a good experience, but it's a good thing for her to make sure the policies will protect the underrepresented people.
Totally.
Yeah. I hope they would be good.
Oh, please. I know they'll be good.
Yeah?
Just in comparison to the last 4 years, anything they do is like perfect. For lack of a better word, it's perfect.
Okay. はい、じゃあここからは2人でちょっとお話ししてきたことを、簡単にさらっと日本語でおさらいしていこうと思います。で、最初にも伝えました通り、今回のお話の内容っていうのはあくまでも私と埼玉くんの個人的見解であるということを、申し上げておきたいと思います。はい。で、最初に、お話ししたのはバイデンが勝って、私たちは嬉しかったんですね。なので、やっとその4年間続いたトランプ政権から共和党政権から民主党政権に変わって、これからどうなっていくんだろうっていうお話と、トランプ政権の4年間とカナダの関わりっていうのをちょっとだけお話ししていったっていう感じです。で、トランプ政権とカナダの関わりっていうのは、そうですね、そこまでその中国とアメリカみたいにすごい仲が悪くなるような感じではなかったんですけども、もちろんその貿易関係で関税をカナダからの、輸出の、ものに対して関税を高めるっていうのをなんて言うんでしょう、合意させられたというか、そういうのがあったっていう話をしてました。で、具体的に言うと、カナダのスチール、あとアルミニウムとブリティッシュコロンビア州からの木材に課税されました。なぜか、これらの貿易がこれまでカナダに有利に動いていると思ってたみたいで、そういうふうにされたと。あとはカナダの乳製品市場にアメリカからの乳製品を、の割合を上げたっていうのも、カナダの国にとっては、損失ではあったっていう話をしましたね。で、カナダの乳製品市場っていうのはサプライチェーンマネジメントにすごく力を入れていて、製品の質とか安全性をとっても重要視してるらしくって、結構スタンダード標準評価基準とか品質基準っていうのがすごい結構厳しいそうです。なのに対してアメリカっていうのはその基本的に乳製品市場は価格競争が大きくって価格低下を重視してるから、そもそもやり方としてカナダとアメリカの乳製品市場のやり方っていうのは相入れないから、もうそこがなんだろう、アメリカのその乳製品を作ってる側からしてもそんなにメリットでもないし、人口少ないしね。で、カナダからしても市場にちょっとアメリカの製品が入ってくるから損失になるから、なんでそんなことやったのかよくわからないっていう話をしてましたね。で、あとは他国の防衛費を増加させたって言ってましたね。これちょっと私も詳しくは分かってないんですけど、結局そのアメリカファーストって言ってアメリカの、雇用とか生活を守るために、全部難癖つけられるところを全部他国いろんな国に難癖つけて、アメリカの労働を保ったりとかするための、あくまでも政策だったんだろうねっていう話をしてました。でも総合的に見て別に、もしかしたら労働市場にどれくらい影響があったのかわからないけど、総合的に見てそんなにアメリカにも他の国にもそんなに利益はなかったんじゃないかっていう話をしてました。で、カナダ人とトランプサポーターについてなんですけど、埼玉くんと私というのはトロントに住んでる、30代の、社会的に言えば割と若い世代で、かつその教育も受けている、とっても基本的に見たらすぐリベラルって分かるような人たちなんですけど、それはその私たちが接するグループも同じで、私たちの周りの友達とか知り合いとかお話しする人とかソーシャルメディアで流れてくる情報とか基本的に全部リベラルが多い。で、その 保守対リベラルじゃなくて、トランプを見た時にトランプに投票するなんて本当に頭大丈夫なのかっていう感じの意見がやっぱり普通というか多いし、そういうなんて言うんでしょう、世界に生きてるんですよ。で、カナダにだって絶対トランプ推しの人たちはいると思うんですけど、私たちが生活している中でそういう人たちの声っていうのはあんまり聞こえてこないんですね。カナダでです。これはカナダ限定の話です。で、逆にアメリカのニュースとかメディアを見てると、もうどちらの声もすごいバンバンバンバン聞こえてくる。そのリベラルの人がトランプとかトランプ政権、トランプサポーターを、批判しているっていうのを見るし、逆にトランプサポーターの声、彼が何をアメリカのためにしたかとか、これが良かったとか、若干人種差別的な声とか、そういうのもなんか目にするし、つまりそれは目に見えるような形で出てきてるってこと、アメリカで。で、そうアメリカのそのすごい分断がすごく明確になってきてるっていうのも見えてきてた、この4年間で。でもカナダではそういった声が聞こえてこないんですよ。すごい、国は全然違うけど隣なので、やっぱりあの似たような感じなんですよ、やっぱり。ただトランプサポーカナダのトランプサポーターの話とかなんかあんまり見なくって、それはすごい面白いなと思って、絶対いるのに。でそういう話をしてたら、やっぱりこれも同じで、カナダって国土がすごい大きい割に人口がめちゃくちゃ少ないと。でそれが逆にちょっとラッキーに動いていて、結局そういうトランプをサポートする人たちっていうのはやっぱりすごく保守、もう厳格な保守寄りで、マイノリティのグループとか、社会的な自由に対して、視野が狭い思想を持った、グループ同士が例えばカナダにいたとしても、そういったグループ同士が一つの大きい声になるっていうのがあまりないっていうのは、その国土が大きくって人口が分散してるからそういった一つになりにくい、団結しにくいっていうのがあるっぽいです。で、そういった割とそのすごい厳格な保守的なグループに比べて、多様性とかインクルージョンを重視しているグループの方がカナダには圧倒的に多いから、それがいいところ、国土が広いっていうのと人口が少ないっていうところでカナダが享受してる部分だよねっていう話になってて、みんなやっぱりカナダの価値っていうのは多様性なところとか多文化なところっていうのは、意見が一致してる、大多数がそうっていうこと、それはやっぱりいいところだなって思って、話になりました。で、あとはトランプが良かった点は何だろうねっていう話をしてたんですけど、もうですね、なんか私たちはなんか本当に民主党寄りの視点なので、トランプが大統領やってよかった点としては、みんなの共通の、エネミーとしてアメリカ国民を団結させたところってかなり皮肉的な意見が埼玉くんから出てきたんですけど、トランプは言い過ぎかもしれないけど、政治界のなんかヒトラー、政治政策的にはヒトラーみたいだったと。で、若干それは言い過ぎかもしれないけど、彼のポリシーによって多くの人が彼に抵抗しようと団結したように見えると言ってました。で、結局トランプを批判してる人たちだって個人個人の考え方とは重視してる政策とかはやっぱり違うじゃないですか。違うんだけども、アメリカファーストすぎてそれが逆にアメリカを傷つけてるとか、コロナ期間中トランプ政権が国民の命をうまく守れてなかったことはアメリカを結局傷つけてるし、パリ協定から手を引くことはアメリカと世界を傷つけてる。気候変動を認めずに、事実を否定することはアメリカと世界を傷つけてる。で、内閣に 適格な人材を登用することはアメリカを傷つけてるといった共通認識が、トランプサポーター以外の全ての人を団結させて今回のバイデン勝利の、大きな要因になったんじゃないかっていう話をして、そこがトランプの良かったところかなっていう話をしてました。結局確かにその得票数でも選挙人団の獲得数でもバイデンが今回は勝ったので、前回とは違ってですね、民意と、州の意思が、どちらもバイデンを選んだっていうことになるねっていう話をしてました。拮抗はしてましたけどね。で逆に、トランプがすごい悪かったところはどこだろうっていう話をしたら、さっきも言ったけども、科学と事実を信じようとしないところで、あとはアメリカ人の国内の国民の分断をすごく悪化させたっていうところっていう話をしてましたね。これは皆さんよく知ってると思うので、詳しくは英語のディスカッションで聞いていただければと思いますけども、はい。あとはバイデンとカマラに期待することっていうお話をしました。まずバイデンに関しては、その科学的根拠に基づいたコロナウイルスのコントロール、アメリカすごいひどいんですよね。なんで対策全然取ってないのみたいな感じなくらい、人が普通に出かけてて、今回の選挙戦でもよく見られたと思いますけど、マスクなしで普通に選挙活動の集まりとかにみんな行ってて、不思議だなって。マスクしてる人もいますけどね、明らかにねよくわからないなっていう状況をよく見てました。だからバイデンになったらそこ絶対きっと変わるから、もっときちんとコロナウイルスのコントロールしてほしいと。カナダにも影響しますからね。いつまでたってもカナダアメリカ間の国境を開けられないから、今の状態だとアメリカがこんなにひどいとですね。はい。あとはいろんなものの立て直しをしてほしいと。トランプ政権が廃止したオバマケアを復活させたりとか、教育、警察の立て直し、これきっと人種差別関連とかですね。で、移民政策を立て直し、親と話されたイリーガルの移民の子たちとか、あれはね、イリーガルはね絶対ダメだと思うんですよ。イリーガルの違法移民を無条件に受け入れるなんて絶対やっちゃいけないと思うんですけど、でもその人たちを家族と話すっていうのは本当にもう何百人も親がどこにいたかわからない子たちがいるって聞いて、それは本当に罪なことだなと思いましたね。だってその子供たちには罪ないですからね。はい、そこの立て直しをしてほしいと。あとは国際協力関係としてはパリ協定、あとはイラン関係の立て直し、パリ協定にはもう一回入ってほしいということですね。あとは中国と、アメリカの関係に関しては、関税は絶対に減らす。トランプの時に立てたやつですね。減らすだろうと。で、カナダ中国関係もそのアメリカのその強硬な姿勢によって若干悪くなってて、例えばファーウェイの CFO をUS からアメリカから指示されてカナダって逮捕したんですけど、結局それも大事な時になってカナダが勝手にやったことというか、いや知らんぷりされたっていう苦い経験があるから、そういったのに使われやすいんですね、カナダは。だからそういった全くカナダに利益がないことをカナダがやって、結局中国カナダ関係悪化させてっていうのもあったので、そのあたりも改善されるんじゃないかなっていう話をしてました。はい。で、あとはカマラさんに何を期待するかで、通常、歴代の副大統領と同じようにアメリカ国内の政策全般に関与しておいてほしいと。っていうのも、彼女っていうのは今回人種インドとジャマイカ系の血が入ってる彼女かつ女性っていうところ だけを強調されて、それに関連する政策だけに集中させるんじゃなくて、通常の副大統領と同じように全般的に国内の政策を見ていってほしいと、言ってましたね。パーティー、その政党とか内閣とか政権が彼女にそれを、彼女に人種のやつだけとかジェンダーの問題だけとかに集中させるようなことは起きてほしくないという話をしてました。で、彼女は法律の専門家なので、そのあたり経験とか知識を生かして政策を進めてほしいという話をしてました。で、あとバイデンがカマラを副大統領に任命した時、埼玉君はどう思ったのって聞いたら、戦略的にはいいと思ったけど若干下手な選択だなと思ったと。で、代表選の時にカマラはバイデンの政策の一部に対してすごい批判的だったんですって。だから本当にって若干微妙じゃないって思ったらしいです。ただ結局そのカマラを選んだってことは自分と対立する意見を持ってる人とも協力していこうという意思が見えるから、そこはいいのかなと評価できるって言ってましたね。でも埼玉君的には副大統領にもとなってほしかった人がいたらしくて、それは、例えば社会主義的なポリシーに関しては例えばバーニー・サンダースとか、経済政策的にはエリザベス・ローレンとか、そういった人たちの副大統領も見てみたかったと言ってました。で、彼らはカマラよりも活動家としての経験がとっても豊富だから、より適切というか的確なんじゃないかって思ってたと言ってましたね。でだからといって別に副大統領になる資格がないと言ってるわけではなくて、それでも彼女っていうのはやっぱり今回はシンボリック、印象的、象徴的な、選択で、このタイミングでトランプ大統領の政権の後っていうのと、バイデンさんが結構高齢っていうところもあって、このタイミングでそういった見るからにこれまでとは違う副大統領を選ぶっていうのは、戦略であって、次の世代に政治をつなげるためにあえて民主党が取った、方針なのじゃないかっていう話をしてました。で、彼女はまだ若いので、仮に8年間バイデンが大統領をするとして、その8年間の副大統領の経験を積めると。そしたら次の8年後の大統領選で彼女は適切な大統領候補として立候補できるかもしれないと。それをもしかしたら民主党は狙っていて、見通していて、あえて若い彼女を今副大統領に任命したんじゃないかっていう話をしてて、それは期待したいところだねっていうところで、話は終わりました。はい。ちょっと今日すごい一番長くなっちゃいました。これまでで申し訳ないです。でもいろんなね見解があると思います。日本からしたらバイデンさんになったら中国がどうのこうのとかいう意見もあったみたいで、やっぱりカナダとかアメリカとの見解と日本の立場から見るアメリカ大統領なってほしいアメリカ大統領像っていうのがやっぱりめちゃくちゃ違うんだなっていうふうにやっぱり思いました。でもカナダに住んで私の個人的な見解とか思想とかからするとやっぱり今回はバイデンが勝って嬉しいです。で、これから4年間すごい印象的な4年間だったので、これからバイデンさんがどういうふうに動いていくか、カマラさんがどういうふうな副大統領になっていくかっていうのを隣の国カナダから見ていきたいなと思います。中国との関係も一概にどうなるっていうのがわからないと思うので、引き続き注目していきたいと思います。はい。今回は以上です。で、来週は普段の記事取り上げに戻って、先週の続きとしてやりたかったカナダの移民について、もう少しすごく基本的なところから見ていきたいなと思っています。以上です。はい、それでは、良い1週間をお過ごしください。Have a wonderful week. Bye bye.